Hello and welcome to the first candidate interview. Today we have Estevan Ortega. Go ahead and tell us and introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you for having me, Aaron. My name's Estevan Ortega. I'm running for vice president. I've been in the SGA for the past 6 semesters, first as a senator and now currently as the CFO for the past 2 years. Yeah.
Why did you join the SGA in the first place?
I joined, well, to be completely honest, I joined the SGA originally because I thought it would look good on a resume. So that was why I first got involved with the SGA. But then as as a senator, as I saw what the SGA was about and what we did, I realized that the SGA here at Tech can actually make a lot of really cool changes and have an impact. And so it got me really excited and really proud to be a part of the SGA.
No, that's amazing. And thank you for serving as a senator. I know it's a lot of work on you guys, so I really appreciate you doing it, especially for so long. When did you become the CFO?
Yes, so I became the CFO going into my sophomore year, so I've been in it for 2 years.
Okay. What was that like? Why did you choose to seek a higher position within the SGA?
Yeah, so I was, as a senator, what I was most interested in was the financial side of things and how the SGA helped clubs and students with going to conferences or supplies they needed and that stuff. And during my time as a senator, there was a lot of turnover with the CFO position. And so I felt like I could do a better job in that position. And when Dylan sent out the email asking for people to interview for the CFO position, I decided to throw my hat into the ring.
Yeah, no, that's great. What would you say is the biggest improvement you have made to the position since your time compared to people in the position before you?
Yeah, so when I first started, there was nothing as far as training, as far as notes on how to do the job. And so that's what caused some of the previous issues is someone would get the position, be like, I don't know how to do this,
No.
and then not do anything. And so with help from Dylan and Eli, we were able to set up processes to get me trained and make sure that any future CFO has notes for them, has something in place to make sure that we don't go through that again where a CFO isn't doing what they're supposed to do.
No, that's amazing. So obviously, you spent the last significant amount of time as a CFO. How does that translate to what you'd be doing as the vice president?
Yeah, so I would say that the CFO position and the vice president position are very close. The vice president, I would say, handles. So they both work very closely with the clubs.
No.
And most of the time that someone comes in last year when Eli wasn't there or this year when Ella's not there and they have a question, I'm usually able to answer those vice president questions just because of how similar it is of the type of work that we're doing. I would say that the vice president position is the non-financial side of clubs more so. It's like the volunteer hours and approving the forms as they come in, and then I get everything after that. I give the recommendations on the money that clubs received, while the vice president leads the Senate meetings, and so it's very closely knitted, just two sides of the same coin.
Right. And you brought up clubs, and I wanted to ask you about that. So during the debate, a lot was brought up about the different collaboration between the SGA and clubs. What would be the main thing that can be improved between that communication line?
Yeah, I just want it to be. I want clubs to have more information. I think a lot of times stuff gets lost in translation. Like I mentioned during the debate with the mandatory club meeting, not everyone can make it, and even when the presentation gets sent out, it's not as well as actually being there in person. So I think having that recorded or some other solution to go along with that would be great for the clubs. I would also like it to be easier to find stuff on Tech Connect and on the SGA website. I think when students, I've heard that when students go looking for answers to their questions on their own, they immediately run into, where do I go to find this? And so I just want to make that a lot easier for clubs or any student wanting to know how the SGA operates and how their club can operate.
Right. And do you think it's the same, like, lack of communication? It seems to be a pretty strong idea in the student community around clubs that a lot of clubs don't get a lot of funding, but we know that there is a lot of money out there. We see it through KTEK. KTEK received a lot of support from the SGA, but people still say that the SGA isn't supporting them. Do you think it's because of that lack in communication that they just don't know that there's money out there?
I think that's part of it. I think also to go along with that is people don't realize how limited the SGA's funding is towards specific things. So as far as club budgets, we only have $15,000 that we can spread out. And there's 50 plus clubs on campus. And so when you do the math there, that's not a lot to spread around. And so that's one thing, clubs will submit a request for $2,000, and that's 10% of more than 10% of that budget, and that's just not something that the financial committee is able to approve. And so it's things like that where it's like, there's not, like, our hands are tied. We only have, for this specific thing, there's only so much we can give, and for it's the same thing for any branch of the SGA. We have the budget. It comes from student funds. So so this year there was tons of budget cuts because registration was down. We had way less students coming into tech than we usually have, and that caused us to have to really tighten up that budget. And so we took hours away from some SGA positions and combined other SGA positions and tried to make sure that we were cutting the SGA's funds first before we went and cut we didn't make any adjustments to what we had for Senate bills. We didn't make any adjustments to what we had for the club budgets and etc. And so we tried to make sure that it wasn't hurting the students, but it still means that we're limited in what we're able to do.
Right. And that makes sense. My next question I wanted to know is, so Ella Hooks is the current vice president, and she's done an amazing job, and obviously she's running unopposed for president. So what is your relationship like with Ella? Do you guys work well together? How long have you guys known each other?
Yes, we've known each other since both of our freshman years. We're close personal friends, and I would say that we work very well together, and I think she's done an amazing job, and I want to continue what it is that she's been doing for the SGA. I have a few of my own spins, but mostly I think she's set us on a great path, and I want to continue that.
Yeah. And so this is a question actually pulled from the stream that I don't believe actually got directly answered, but how can the SGA support diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus?
Yeah, I think the SGA can make sure that if there's any kinds of concerns regarding that, we can be a platform for students to speak their concerns and be heard, and make sure that admin knows about it and try to put pressure on admin to make changes. From strictly the SGA standpoint, we're limited on what we can do, and so we need the students' voices, and we need their support to help us go at admin and try to make them to make changes. As far as what we can do on our own, we can make sure that clubs are inclusive to all, which is already a rule we have. We want to make sure that everyone feels like they're seen and they have a voice, and yeah, that's...
Yeah, excellent. So I have one last question for you. So given a hypothetical scenario, for you personally, if you had the choice, would you prioritize the quality life or the quality of student life or boost admissions into our school? And why?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I think number one, you gotta boost the quality of student life. That's what we're all about. Admissions is important, although that's more of an admin thing. There's not a ton we can do other than to make students want to come here, and a good way to do that is improve the quality of students' life here. So it goes hand in hand, and I think first you gotta help the students, enjoy their time here, and that will lead to more students coming in.
Right. So just to reiterate, you think improving the quality of life for students will bring more students in turn?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
All right, excellent. That's all the questions I have, and I believe we're out of time. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me, Aaron.
We have your flyer posted up here. You can scan the QR code to go vote. Best of luck.
Thank you.